Stardew Valley is packed with secrets, shortcuts and hidden tips that can make your farm life so much easier. But as a new player, you may not know some of these tips that can help you out. There are a lot of things that even I didn't know at the start. So today, I'll be sharing all of the things I wish I knew before starting off in Stardew Valley. This is so you don't have to make the same mistakes I did at the beginning. But before we start, please consider smashing that like button and also subscribing to the channel, since that helps me out a lot. So without any further ado, let's begin. One of the things that I want to let everyone know is that Stardew Valley has world seeds. Some of the players out there don't know this fact, and those influence the world generation, and in Stardew Valley it can have a huge effect. For example, there are world seeds that have 9 days of rain in the spring season, Day 1 ancient seeds, multiple fairy visits, and more. To use a world seed, you need to add it in the advanced menu option when you're starting a brand new farm. I made a whole video that covers a few of those world seeds that work for PC, and they may come in handy for your next farm if you like those, so you can check out that video here. Another quite handy tip is when you start a brand new farm, always check the game options. There are a few important things that you need to activate there, and those are the tool hitbox, the item info option, and the zoom buttons. For me, those options are amazing and I always turn them on for my playthroughs, since they're so helpful. The tool hitbox shows where are you going to use your tool, which is important in saving energy. The item info is about all of the items, showing how much you carry and how much you have crafted of a given item, which is important for the 100% completion. And also the zoom buttons. When you turn on this option, 2 little buttons for zoom in and zoom out will appear under your gold, and with those you can just set up your perfect resolution in how you want to play the game. Another thing that can be quite helpful at the start, but it's a bit of a cheating move, and that is the almighty chair. Some of you may not know, but by using the chair you can get access to some pretty wild locations, and one of them is the Secret Woods. When you start a brand new farm, you can just grab the chair and slip past the log that blocks the entrance of the Secret Woods, gaining access to the woodskip quite early on, and also a lot of forageable items. This for me is a bit of a cheat move, but it's up to you how you want to play your game. Are you tired of going around the valley in order to pick up the goods from the tapped trees, or just visiting every shed on the farm in order to check if the shed is done or not? Well, there is a way where you can synchronize everything so you always know what's done. The important step is to plant 3 of each tree type on the farm and wait for them to mature. Afterwards, put tappers on all of those and go around the valley putting tappers on every tree you won't cut down. By doing this, whenever you see the trees on the farm are ready to collect, you will know that every other tapped tree around the valley is ready. This can also be used on sheds. Just place a keg or a preserve jar in front of the door, and when it's ready, you will know. This is a great tip that will save you a lot of time. And speaking about saving time, you can also save a lot of time by foraging. At the start, foraging is important. You need to go around the valley picking up forageable items for energy, gifts, and more, even for the community center. And there is also a day when it's perfect to go foraging, and that is Saturday. That is only because the forageable items stack from Monday to Saturday, and after Saturday they reset. So Sunday it's a fresh start. So you should make Saturday your day for foraging, where you will go around the valley picking up every forageable item before the reset. That way you will save a lot of time that you can use somewhere else, and Saturday you can spend the time for that. This will save you a lot of time and it's so helpful. In Stardew Valley, the community center is tied to the progress of the game. So from the moment you start the game, you should always prioritize it, completing the bundles and donating everything that's needed. Since if you miss an item from a season, you will have to wait a whole year to get it. You should always keep track of what's needed And to know that, you can always hover over the items and keep an eye out on the community center icon in the inventory. If it's pulsing, then that means the item is needed for a community center bundle. So you should always hover over all of the items. This is an easily missed detail, but it's a real lifesaver. Another little thing that we have, and that concerns the fruit trees in the game. If you only plant fruit trees, you won't get rich. They produce 1 fruit per day, and also only in their respective season. And they also need a long time to grow as well. But there is a really neat trick that we can use. When you unlock the greenhouse, you can utilize the exterior region where you can plant up to 18 fruit trees, which will yield 54 fruit every 3 days. You may not get rich, but fruits are universally liked and they can help you a lot in gaining friendship points with the villagers. Purchasing items in Stardew Valley has been tedious in the past. Anytime that you would need to purchase huge amounts of something in the game, you would have to spend a lot of time just purchasing stack by stack, item by item, since it needed time to fill out a complete stack of 999. But now we got the solution. In the new update, ConcernedApe made it possible for us to purchase stacks of 25 by just pressing Shift and Control, making purchasing large amounts of items possible. And if you press Shift, Control and number 1, it will purchase a whole stack of items. This is really helpful and a game changer for me, and I think it will help a lot of you out there as well. The next thing that I wish I knew earlier is about the Junimo Hut buff. When you put raisins in the Junimo Hut, it will give the Junimos a 20% chance of harvesting double crops. This can be quite beneficial if you have large amounts of the more expensive crops, which then the Junimos can pick without any worries. To get raisins, however, you just need to put some grapes in a dehydrator and voila! You have the item you need. The Junimos consume 1 box of raisins every week, so keep them well fed for the best results. And also, one more thing that I really wish I knew sooner is concerning the chests in the game. The 1.6 update added large chests which have a bigger inventory and are more useful. But there's quite a neat trick to use them. Basically, if you want to use one, you would place it, remove all of the inventory from their old one, etc. You would have to spend a lot of time moving items around to get the perfect organization. But there's a really neat trick to that. Just use the large chest on the small one and it would automatically replace it without having to remove the items. I can't count the number of hours I lost basically moving items around, and after I learned this, I was both sad and happy at the same time. This is an amazing quality of life change and I hope it helps you out as well. One more important thing that I wish I knew sooner was building connections with the villagers in Stardew Valley. That is a key aspect of the game and quite important if you're aiming for the 100% completion. You should always keep track of everyone's birthday, and whenever you can, give them gifts. For example, leeks are perfect for Leaky George since it's his loved gift and you can find it in spring quite a lot around the valley. With that you can increase your friendship with him faster, and you should aim this with every other villager as well. As you increase your reputation with the villagers, they will start sending you gifts in the mail as well, which will come in handy a lot. In the 1.6 update, carrots were introduced to the game that were a nice source of extra energy, but it also has another use. If you feed a carrot to your horse, it will increase its move speed, which is helpful so much early on, and it's way cheaper than coffee. But the horse is quite expensive, so it evens out a bit. When planting large amounts of crops, hold down the right click and you just plant the crops as you move along. You don't need to manually hover with your mouse in order to choose where to plant the crops. That's a bit time consuming. And this is especially helpful when you have huge amounts of crops that you need to plant over huge areas. Just run along and fill up the spots. One more really helpful thing when starting a brand new farm is to keep one of each items you find in a chest somewhere on the farm, so that you will always have one of those, and they are quite needed, to be honest. Those are needed for quests for the villagers, since they will randomly ask for items from you, and it's a great way to easily complete quests for rewards and also increase your reputation with them. Another thing that I really wish I knew sooner is about the animals. Animals always need grass to be fed or for you to put hay in the feeding trough. If you let them graze outside, however, they can easily eat all of the grass, leaving them without any food. But there is a trick to combat that. If you put a grass starter and a lightning rod above it, the animals won't be able to eat that patch of grass which is a starter. And it will let the grass grow from there on, creating a type of automatic feeder for the animals. Just be careful of the rainy days, since then the animals will stay indoors, and if the feeding troughs are empty, they'll be unhappy. This works with fence posts as well, so keep that in mind, and you can use this trick to have food for your animals anytime. Another thing that I wish I knew sooner is about the pan. When you unlock the glittering boulder, you unlock the pan and panning around Stardew Valley. But the pan won't be needed every time, so keeping that one slot of your inventory locked is quite unproductive. But there's a trick for that. The pan can be used as a hat in order to save on inventory space when going around the valley, and even now can be also upgraded at Cleanse and even enchanted at the Forge, giving you a great boost in your panning adventure. And as you all know, the museum is an important part of Stardew Valley, which needs to be completed with artifacts and minerals. But you should always know that there are some items that shouldn't be donated and some that you should donate instantly. For example, if you find an ancient seed, you will need to donate that to the museum for the reward of an ancient seed that you can plant, and also the recipe to craft more ancient seed if you find the artifact again. And there are also artifacts that you should not donate at all if you find them. For example, the dino egg or even the marble. If you find a dino egg, first incubate it in a coop if you have an incubator, in order to get a small dino, which will then produce more dino eggs for you, which you can then donate. For the marble, it's needed for a crafting recipe that you can get from Robin, which is important for the 100% completion. So keep this in mind. And speaking of dino eggs, if you have a thriving dino empire with a lot of eggs, you should focus on dino mayo. But with a recent change, dino mayo may not be as profitable as it was in the past with the artisan profession. If you have gotten the treasure appraisal guide, it will triple the sale price of all of the artifacts including the dino egg, making it more valuable to sell like that without processing it. So keep this in mind. Early game gold will be quite important for you, and Robin sells 3 items that are quite useful for you at the start. The first one is the calendar, which will help you keep track of every birthday, festival, bookseller, and more. The second item that she sells is the telephone, that will let you check the prices and wares of the local shops without you having to wait for them to open and waste the time going there as well. And the last is the workbench, which will make crafting so much easier. The workbench is used by placing it next to a few chests, so it will pull items from those chests for crafting. Early on, these are quite useful, and you should pay Robin a visit whenever you can and get these items. One more important tip is that you shouldn't forget about the mines. After you unlock the mines, you should make it your goal to reach the bottom of it, since the mines are directly tied to your progress in the game. They are filled to the brim with resources, which are needed for crafting, items for the museum, and even better weapons and boots for your character. So you should always spend some time there whenever you can. Another thing that I really wish I knew when I started a brand new farm is about the 13th of spring. That day is a really important day where the Egg Festival is happening and Pierre is selling strawberry seeds. Those seeds are a big boost early on in spring, which can help you get an awesome start in the game for the summer season. So you should focus on earning as much gold as possible early on in order to get as many strawberry seeds as you can on the 13th. Plant them on the farm and keep them alive until the end of the season. It may be a bit harder to water all of those if you have a huge amount, but the start of the summer season will be depending on that. And those were all of the things that I wish I knew earlier in Stardew Valley. A lot of these are really helpful and I truly hope that they make your playthroughs a lot easier. Which one of these you didn't know about and which one is the most game changing for you? Let me know down below. If I managed to show you something new, please do press that like button and also subscribe to the channel so you get notified of my future updates. Thank you for watching and I hope you all have a great day. I will see you all in my next one, but till then, stay safe.